What's going on, guys? Andrew Piluk Hockey here, back again with another video. Today we're going to be looking at some more Toronto Maple Leaf trade rumors, news talk, so make sure to like this video and subscribe if you're new. We've got a lot to get into, some goaltending, some defensemen, so let's waste no more time and let's get right into it. But like I said, make sure to stick around by clicking that subscribe button. But last night on TSN, at the time I'm recording this, Chris Johnston on Insider Trading said that the Leafs are interested in a few pieces. So other than Tanev, of course, we've been talking about Tanev a lot on this channel, the Leafs have interest in Walker and Carrier, that being Alexandre Carrier or Alexandre Carrier for all my fellow French people out there, and Sean Walker. Now, the issue is they don't want to move their first rounder and they don't have second rounders. They're trying to go with volume and offer multiple lower round picks, but teams have no interest in that. And in previous videos, we both know we've looked at Chris Tanev extensively and looked at the amount of picks that the Leafs have. And Chris Johnston is correct. In the next couple of years, the Leafs don't have those picks to be able to give up, those second round picks. They have some thirds, fourth, fifth, sixth, whatever. But when you're trying to contend and make your team a lot better, you have to give up heavy pieces, which is like top prospects, seconds, firsts. You want to go after those guys that are going to make a difference on your team. But what we're going to get into here is Walker and Carrier might be options for the Maple Leafs to upgrade while not having to give up those first round picks. But the problem is that Walker and Carrier might fetch those second and third round picks. And if the Leafs don't have any seconds and teams are willing to give up those seconds, the Leafs are going to have to add more to it, and that's why he's mentioned volume here. But it looks like these teams currently are not interested in volume. Now, I will say, if it's the offseason, Walker and Carrier, in my opinion, probably don't fetch as much as they do now because teams are looking to upgrade and you need right-handed shot defensemen. All three of Tanev, Walker, and Carrier are right-handed shots, and we'll show that in just a second. But another thing I wanted to bring up was something from Pierre LeBrun. Now, LeBrun on MarkAndre Flurry and Insider Trading. Again, I keep saying trading. If Minnesota does fall out of it and it's clear that they are out of it, Flurry potentially could look at 2 to 3 teams among those options. I'm told are the likes of Carolina, the likes of Toronto, and the likes of Colorado. So Toronto has been close on MarkAndre Flurry before. We know that previously Kyle Dubas tried to trade for Brandon Hagel and MarkAndre Flurry, and the trade was pretty much all but done. Matthew Knies was supposed to be in that deal, a first-round pick, I believe a second. There might have been something else involved, but it was a few years ago. Hagel and Flurry would have made the Leafs a lot better, I'm sure. And honestly, I kind of wish they did make that trade. I do love Matthew Knies, but that trade probably would have given the Leafs even more than what they had at the time, and they probably likely would have held on to both of those players. But MarkAndre Fleury is interesting because if Joseph Woll keeps getting hurt, the Leafs have to find other options, and you can't just only rely on Ilya Samsonov and Martin Jones because we don't know if Martin Jones is going to go cold because we can't expect him to play incredible all season. And Samsonov, we do know that he's been very, very cold and very hot as of late. So you're not really sure what you're getting. So grabbing another goaltender, especially the likes of a guy like MarkAndre Fleury, would make this team better. It would give you that really substantial like backup guy. And while we have it, like we might as well just take a look at his numbers again. MarkAndre Fleury, again, that cap hit at $3.5 million. He has that full no move clause, and it's the last year of his deal. If the Leafs were to get him, they would have to shed some money there. They would probably have to get a team to eat half of his salary, and there's also a chance they might have to get a third team involved to make that deal happen. But you can see his numbers over the years, including playoff numbers. He's been absolutely fantastic over his career, and this year in 25 games played, a 283 goals against and a 902 save percentage, and Minnesota has been all over the place. But if the Leafs are somehow able to make this a 3-team trade and get that cap hit substantially lower in the $1 to $2 million range, I think it's kind of a no-brainer, especially if they move on from a couple of their depth players that cost them, over $1 million. Like if you bury a Ryan Reeves in the minors and then you trade, another piece, you're giving yourself a little bit of wiggle room there to allow yourself to have a Marc-Andre Fleury. It might even involve sending down a guy like Martin Jones and potentially maybe even trading a guy like Ilya Samsonov if the Leafs don't feel like they can utilize him, which I think is silly. Both of those guys deserve to stay on the team, but if you're going to be having like 4 goalies on the roster, it'll create some tough confusion there. But I'm more interested in the acquiring of the defenseman because the Maple Leafs need to shore up that blue line. Now, there's locks on this team, right? You have Morgan Rielly, who's a lock to stay on this team. Benoit, who's a lock right now on this team. You've got McCabe, who's a lock on this team. Other than that, guys like Gio, unfortunately Liljegren, even TJ Brody, these are guys that potentially could be benched or traded or just not utilized. And we also have Connor Timmins, who I also think could potentially get moved in like a future considerations or a 5th or 6th round pick type of deal, so the Leafs can open up some cap space. But he's sick right now, so I'm wishing him the absolute best. It kind of sucks that I even have to talk about trade talk with a guy like that being sick right now. But the Leafs need to acquire some guys, and man, wouldn't it be nice if you could acquire 2 depth defensemen in Carrier and Walker? Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys, neither one of these guys are going to be playing second and first pairing minutes. These are bottom pairing guys, so if you acquire both of them, you're going to have to play them a little bit more than usual. But if you acquire one of them, I mean, they're serviceable guys, and they're guys that can play solid both sides of the ice. Nothing crazy, nothing flashy, kind of like Benoit, where it's like, you've got a guy that's going to give it his all and is going to give you decent minutes, but isn't going to give you anything flashy. So Carrier has been playing for Nashville for a while now, $2.5 million contract here. So if you look here, this guy's been a pred for a while. So 15 points in 49 games played, but again, his offense isn't what makes him flashy. He can play solid on both sides. He's what they describe as kind of like a no maintenance type of defenseman, where like you don't really have to do a lot with him. He just kind of plays his game. You leave him alone and he does his thing. It's kind of what like for the longest time Gio was doing for a little bit here with the Leafs. Like, kind of just leave him alone and he'll do his thing, and he does really well at it. Of course, Gio's kind of slowed down this year, but before that, like, you kind of can just let him do his thing. A lesser degree, like, I think people were saying they were comparing him to like Jared Spurgeon, or Carrier was being like the quote was a poor man's Jared Spurgeon or something like that, which they're saying, like, it's not a knock on him. It's just like, you're not getting Jared Spurgeon. You're getting like a lesser value, lesser player than that, like a bottom pairing version of him, which I would take any day of the week. So if you give me a solid few minutes every night, I'll be okay with it. The Leafs need blue line help. And also Sean Walker, like another good piece here, that $2.65 million deal. Both of these guys are unrestricted free agents at the end of the year. 19 points in 55 games played, again, giving you a few points here and there, which that's fantastic for the Maple Leafs. They need guys that can give you some points, but they also need guys that are just going to play good defense. So if Walker or Carrier could be acquired by the Maple Leafs, that would obviously strengthen their blue line, but the Maple Leafs really need to clear up some cap space, and that's a video that I'm going to be making for you guys very soon, is talking about how the Maple Leafs can utilize their cap space, who they can trade off to open up some room, because the NHL trade deadline, as it gets closer, the Leafs have to figure out what they're going to do. They need help. This team needs to win, and in order for them to win, that blue line needs to get substantially better. So let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. If you are new here, make sure to like this video and subscribe. I'd greatly appreciate it. Join the squad. And yeah, hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video or stream. And make sure to scream "Go Leafs Go" any chance you get. And also, tell me in the comments what trade you think is going to happen. So I'll see you guys later. Peace.